Let me start by acknowledging two friends. Dave Foster, who is the Executive Director of the Blue-Green Alliance, who is a longtime, very close and personal friend who is unable to be here today. He's had a death in his family, and he's had to take care of some of that business. And I can tell you this, that I don't normally disagree with Margareta, but if there's any one person that is truly responsible for making sure that the Blue-Green Alliance not only got started, but grew and was a success, it is David Foster, and I think we should give him a big hand even though he's not here. The other person I want to acknowledge has also become a close friend, and without his participation, the Blue-Green Alliance wouldn't have come together, and that's my friend Carl Pope, who's sitting over there, who was the Executive Director of the Sierra Club when we created this organization, I think. I keep reminding myself that when the three of us had this idea, we created the Blue-Green Alliance on one piece of paper, one page. At that point in time, we had just merged with the Paperworkers Union, and if I'd have known, we'd have made it on a whole bunch more pages. But in reality, we held the kickoff at the Press Club in Washington, and there was Carl, myself, Dave Foster, 4 or 5 people from our staff, and I think 3 media. And we've gone from there to an organization that, through its affiliate organizations, has access to 14 million members, and that is a tremendous accomplishment in and of itself, in that what we do and what we talk about doing is, as I said, that Margareta stole my line, it's not a choice of whether we're going to have good jobs in a clean environment. It's not either or. It's both or neither. And I believe that fundamentally because I grew up in the region of North America that was the pollution capital of, if not the world, North America. I grew up in an environment where I didn't realize until I left that you didn't have to suck in sulfur fumes when you ran track. I didn't realize that if you just pour hot effluents into a creek, that you'll get fog along the highways that run beside the creek, and people will die in car accidents. And when we would go after the company about saying, that's your water, they'd say, no, that's the weather. You know? But as soon as we got them to build a cooling pond and a water treatment plant, the fog went away and people quit dying on the highway. As soon as we got them to clean up the inside of the coke oven, or the blast furnaces, the sky got cleaner. The same people that told us we couldn't have good benefits and a strong wage were the same people that were telling us we couldn't have good jobs in a clean environment. And so if you think about that, for myself personally, when I think about the way I grew up to come to realize that the same people that tell us you can't have good wages and good benefits were the same people that were telling us you couldn't have clean air and good jobs. And the fact of the matter is that in both circumstances, we either have both or we'll have neither. So I'm tremendously proud of the accomplishments of the Blue-Green Alliance. I'm tremendously proud of the credibility we've established. We've created a corporate advisory board, and we're bringing corporations on side that understand that they have a role to play. They understand that climate change is a reality. And I can tell you that I'm tremendously proud of my union, and I wear this like a badge of honor, that in 1990, if you go to our website, I think it's probably still there, in 1990 we created a document called Our Children's World, and we got it adopted at our convention. And think about our union, it's an industrial union. Our people work in hot, dirty, dusty circumstances. And in the 1990s, we were primarily a mining and manufacturing heavy industry union. We've changed since then. But in 1990, we said in that document that one of the greatest crises that was going to face the world was the issue of climate change. And we were ridiculed by many. The chairman of the committee that put that document together and one of the members of that committee both became presidents of the Steelworkers Union. George Becker, who had come out of our health and safety department, became a vice president and then became president, understood the issue of a clean environment. And in 1990, he put us out as the vice president of the union, put that document out ahead of the curve. I happened to be fortunate enough to have worked with him on that. That took a lot of courage on George's part. I can remember the convention where we supported the Clean Air Act, and a bunch of our members tried to storm the stage at the convention before we were going to take the vote on it. We managed to get them to hold that back because some of us blocked the stage from them. But it passed. It passed by well over 70%. So that again, we were trying to lead the way. Now we're at an era where I fundamentally believe that we have a tremendous opportunity by doing what's right and doing the things that are right, creating and maintaining good jobs. Think about all the opportunities that are there, even as Carl used to say, to take the low-hanging fruit. One of the things that's on the agenda for this conference is to talk about green schools. Since, and those of you that have been at a lot of the BGA conference are probably saying, well, here he goes again. You know, since the first conference of the BGA, one of the things that I've been harping about is that we want to create millions of jobs, put together a strategy at the local level, the state level, and the national level, that over the next 5, 10, and 15 years, we're going to retrofit and put the funds forward to retrofit all public schools that were built before 1970. 60% of the schools in America are older than 50 years of age. Think about what that would mean for our kids to be going into schools that were environmentally clean, energy efficient, and that the air in the school was going to be the best it could be. Think about retrofitting all of our public buildings. Go into courthouses and municipal offices and that. I know that when I go into Pittsburgh, if I go to the courthouse, the municipal headquarters, the county headquarters, the damn buildings were built in the 20s and 30s. And I assume that Pittsburgh's no better or no worse than the average community. Put that program together. Help states, help communities to do that. And if you do it over 5, 10, or 15 years, it'll stimulate jobs in glass and air handling and building materials. It'll stimulate jobs in energy efficiency. It'll stimulate research and development at colleges and universities. And we'll be the innovators of the greenest buildings. I absolutely believe that you could build a building today from scratch and make it carbon neutral. Recycle as much water as you want instead of wasting water. I think you could do all those things. The problem is we need the political will to do it. The knowledge is there. How do we put together a program? Well, let's not fool ourselves. We're going to create carbon. We're going to do it. You can't make steel today without making carbon. You can't make cement without making carbon. We can't do away with steel. We can't do away with cement. But let's put a program together. Let's put the best minds in the world. Let's not pretend that it's impossible. And let's put a program together to see what we can do with carbon. I'm convinced that if we can put 2 spaceships up in outer space, and we can make them connect, and we can take those people with all those nerve to go out there in that silly little string they're hanging on to and fix something, and then come back in and bring that spaceship back to the exact point they want to put the nose down safely, then damn it, we can invent almost anything, you know? As I say, my friend Carl has had a hell of an impact on me. I can remember after we went around to meet some of the newly elected senators, this is my phone. My granddaughter says, Grampy, you're supposed to be a president, and even my phone is better than yours. But this is a phone, that's all I need. We went to see some senators, and Carl and I are talking about all the things that these new senators should be supporting. And we got talking about needing a smart grid, needing an energy grid. And Carl pulls out his phone, which was not much fancier than mine, and says, you know, Senator, I can call India from here. And in a matter of seconds, I'll be talking to somebody, and it'll be just like if I was across the street. And the reason that happens so fast, and the reason my voice can come out clear, is we're using the most modern, scientifically designed and advanced switching equipment in the world. But if we put energy on the grid, and we take it a couple of 100 miles or more, we'll lose anywhere from 7% to 15% of that energy. Why would we want to do that? Why don't we retrofit the energy grid, which will create millions of jobs, and will save that energy? Think of how much you would save, how much you wouldn't need if you could just save 7% of the energy that's put on the grid. This is not things that are impossible. These are things that need political will. That's one of the reasons we created the Blue-Green Alliance. We created the Blue-Green Alliance so that we could defend industrial jobs while at the same time protecting and advancing the environment of this country and the world. One of the things that I think we need to do, and I'm going to start to try and build alliances around this, both within BGA and other places. I keep thinking of what the United States and Canada did when I was a kid. I can tell you another story. When I was a kid, if you had a car and you parked it in the parking lot of the plant I worked, you expected when you came out there'd be shit all over the car. I mean, literally, I call it shit because they would eat a hole in the paint. All the stuff was falling out of the acid rain. I can remember my mom doing the laundry and thinking that when she brought it in, she hadn't done it. You know? We cleaned that up. And the way we cleaned it up is the United States and Canada did a bilateral acid rain treaty. The fish in the Great Lakes were dying. The rivers that were being fed and flowing into the Great Lakes were polluted and being even more polluted. The United States and Canada signed a bilateral agreement to clean up the Great Lakes. They're not yet remediated, but they're a hell of a lot better than they were when we signed that agreement. I think we need to push as citizens and activists. If we can't get a global treaty because of all the global politics, let's push United States and Canada and Mexico to do a bilateral agreement on carbon reduction. Let's push those 3 countries, if we can, or 2 if we can't, to sign an agreement that we're going to target over 5, 10, 15, and 20 years. Carbon reduction targets. Let's not let them play one against the other, the way they tried to do on so many other things. Margaretta warned me that I had 10 minutes, and I think I'm probably in shit now. But let me just say, in many ways, because you're here, you're the advanced troops. You know that something has to be done, and I absolutely believe that if we're committed to doing it, will leave a better world for our kids and our grandkids. I keep telling everybody, I've had a great life. My guidance teacher can't believe that I am where I am. They kept trying to kick me out of high school. And I keep telling them the reason you want to kick me out of the high school are the reasons I've got this good job. So we can do it if we stand and fight together. Take care. Solidarity forever.